started recording, we talked about like the morning of. So
sure.
We met at the high school the morning of.
Morning of.
One of our best players, we weren't sure if he was going to be able to play.
Joe Yeager showed up and one of his eyes, I don't think it was both, or it may have been both, were like swollen shut from sleeping with his contacts in, which wasn't good. So we didn't even know if he was going to be able to play.
I still remember Joe getting word that Joey had his contact in his eye and he was at a doctor's office seeing if he could possibly play that day. And I'm like, okay, what are we going to do if he's not at shortstop?
He wasn't on the bus.
Yeah.
He had to wear sunglasses. I mean, this is what we consider to be our best, if not our second best player.
It helped that his parents were cool, but I knew they weren't cool, but they tried to make it feel, they say the doctor thinks it's okay, he'll be okay, but he will have to wear sunglasses. And I remember the first time I saw him and I said, Joe, he goes, oh, is that you, Mr. Sturts? I'm like, oh, this isn't good.
So I think we got a late start because of that. We couldn't find him, a whole bunch. So it didn't start off great, but I remember going on the bus trip and I think it's like a 3-hour ride to Williamsport or 2.5-hour ride and just being our same normal selves, friends, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, just going to play a game that we've done our whole lives, and it didn't seem like there was pressure around the game itself. It just seemed like another game.
I remember the bus ride that I was going through Twitter today in my off period, and Mr. David Heiser, who was one of the assistant coaches, is getting put into the Wall of Fame up at Springford tonight. So I was emailing him because I still remember him coming up, because he goes, I think we missed the exit for Williamsport. And we asked the bus driver, who was the AD's son, and he goes, oh yeah, he goes, I don't know exactly where I'm at, but I'll get you there by 1 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, but the game starts at 1 o'clock. We got to be there by 11:30. And then the bus starting to smoke going up hills, and I didn't know whether we'd ever get there or that bus. And once we got there, I was okay on the state championship. But between Joey, the bus, getting lost, it made for quite a day.
First of all, to the Borough Bucks. And Scott Barr, their only loss of the season in semifinals in district playoff action. Otherwise, they've been flat out perfect. They've had a great season.
Do you remember that we sort of had the underdog role, or do you remember like feeling that way? Because I think at the time we were being told that Borough was like nationally ranked, and do you remember feeling that way?
Yeah, I remember there was a lot more publicity around Borough, and there were articles written prior to us playing that, kind of spoke about that.
Yeah, I remember the buzz about, I never really cared who we were playing, to be honest, but like I did remember people talking about like their batting averages being really high, and like they all had like these like crazy stud hitters, and then when I saw them, I'm like, these guys they're fine. Like they're nothing special. Like they look just like us.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know, it was nothing new, I don't think. I think we were always this small town team that wasn't going to get the respect that it probably deserved or, required.
Beautiful job done by them.
It was really hot. It was like maybe the hottest day ever, and I believe it was the day after graduation. And I just remember everyone walking around. There was a little bit of a buzz, but there was like a calmness, even though Joe Yeager had, I think he scratched his cornea. I still felt we were like super calm. I remember just walking around in front of the dugouts, just, messing around with the guys, like staying loose. Like I just never felt nervous really leading up to the game.
Hit hard right up the middle. We may have a play at the plate. Anderson comes in. It's a slow roller out there. They'll have no play. Well, maybe they will. Really strong arm out of Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson threw a strike.
Yeah, I mean, we scored right away in the first inning. We got a run on the board, and I definitely think that probably gave us some confidence because we had been hearing about how good Borough was. And when we got out there and we put a run up in the first inning, then we actually put a run up in the second inning, we took a 2-0 lead. I just think the confidence continued to build. Yeah, so they scored right after we did. You know, it was 2-1 at the end of the third inning. And, you know, at that point we figured we were going to be in for a fight, which, you know, we knew we were going to be. It was the state championship game. So we knew it was not going to be easy. But again, we never wavered from, I think, our confidence, because we just knew we were a good team. We knew we deserved to be there. And no matter what they had said about, you know, Burl before we got there and how good they were supposed to be, we thought we belonged on the stage with them. And, you know, we were eager to prove it. Our starting catcher got hurt at some point in the game. So John Gambino kind of rolled up his ankle and was, you know, at the time it seemed like he would be pretty significantly hurt. And so we were, you know, kind of just battling through injuries, battling through a little bit of adversity, but he was able to finish out the game, so it really wasn't that big of a deal.
Up the hip. Look at
Pick
this.
off the first.
That's
That's thrown away, and there's another error. The run scores. HAUZE from third scores the fourth run.
So we were
of the
up
ball game.
4-1. If you go to the last inning, we were up 4-1. All of a sudden in the seventh inning, for whatever reason, you walked, I think, at least two guys. Do you remember like what was happening going through your head that you kind of lost the strike zone a little bit? Or?
I don't remember. I remember it in the seventh inning, men being on, because I remember the culmination being a 1-6-3 double play. So I knew that, you know, the guys were on base. I don't remember specifically, but yeah, I mean, that was always I was never the hardest thrower. I kind of pitched backwards and used a lot of off-speed, breaking balls, change-ups, and for whatever reason, not the best time to become a little erratic.
Joey was uncharacteristically off that inning, and I'm like, we'll never live this down if we lose it in the last inning. And I know, and I forget who it was, but a couple of the coaches were in my ear. We gotta do it. I just, you sit there and I'm thinking to myself, the coach in me and the physical aspects, do I really want to? Because I don't know, I mean, Ian had a future in baseball, so I didn't want to ruin his future. But are we ever going to have a chance to ever win a state championship again? And Ian was always Mr. Cool to me. I mean, he might have been jittery inside, but he never showed anything, and you could always depend on him to get you through rough spots. I remember going out to visit him and said, you got to calm down, we got to do this. We sent a message. Joey said, I'm all right, I'll do it. And I said, okay. And then in my mind, it was like, honestly, it was one more pitch. I was going to give him one more pitch.
Does that surprise you at all that Sturgeon remembers, like, literally, it might have been one more pitch and he might have made a move?
No, I mean, and I think it's fair, right? If I had lost it, which it obviously was headed in that direction, I think he ultimately needs to make the decision, put feelings aside, and, you know, make a change if that's what it called for. So, no, I mean, I didn't look at it the same way because I was confident in my abilities, but I see certainly why he would feel that way and have probably more pressure than me to not let the lead slip away.
And it was like a dream because I saw the double play developing. I'm like, oh my word, it's going to happen. I don't know what I would have done if that was another ball.
Do you remember the thought of, like, if you need me to pitch, I'll throw my arm out to
No.
if you need me?
It sounds like something I might have said, but I don't remember saying it.
You don't have to worry about it, but I often think, would I have the gumption to make that change?
And HAUZE. Right back to the pitcher. He could get the double play in the state championship. They got him. RANISZEWSKI to Yeager to Pancott. And the Phoenixville Phantoms are your state champs with their third double play of the day.
I just remember that when Joe caught the ball, like RANISZEWSKI caught the ball and turned and threw, I was already out.
You were out. I remember seeing
it was over. At that point, that's the vision that I remember. It was just
Yeah,
over.
there's two pictures I remember after. It's you way out in front of everybody, running from the dugout, and then John biting the metal.
There's so many different personalities. I still miss Johnny. Johnny was a unique personality, and it really hurt when I found out that he had passed away. I mean, he was sort of the guts of the team, and I always said that he was sort of the little general on the back as a catcher.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is his nickname, Knuckles, and just his, like, veracity for living. and just being like the life of the party, the group, like just his sense of humor, just his willingness to be there for anybody at the drop of a hat.
I think he was like the heartbeat of the team in terms of we kind of, like nothing intimidates John or would intimidate John. And so his attitude and swagger, I think, helped us either relax or have like a little bit of an edge to us, which I think we all did. And I think that helped long term.
I mean, I still think about him all the time.
You think back, what's like the first thing that comes to your mind about thinking about that game?
Either getting tackled on the mound by John Gambino or riding in a fire truck celebrating with everybody.
Where it was just like, everyone was just shooting smiles like all over that place, like holding the team flag, and it was like midnight and people were outside like cheering us on and stuff. It was really cool.
Do you want the real story of the fire truck? Because we missed the ride on the fire truck. We went inside to put the stuff away, and we came out, and everybody was gone. No, that's okay. No, but that's something, again, small town America, where the people really take pride in that.
Really, it was, kind of like you would imagine on a movie or a TV show. I mean, people literally coming out of their houses trying to understand what was going on, and but at the same time celebrating us, and just it's just one of those things that you'll always remember with your friends and your teammates, that we had the opportunity to win a state championship and ride on a fire truck and celebrate in the city of Phoenixville, the town that we were representing.
Made it interesting in the seventh.
I just remember all the celebrations we had, and we went out on the football field at Thanksgiving and got recognized there and all that. Last week I played against Perkiomen Valley, and Hank King was coaching the other team, and he immediately said, because at our banquet he had gotten Larry Bowe to speak at our banquet. And he said, "Yeah, I still remember that banquet. That was a pretty good." I said, "Yeah, I still remember the banquet."
It was over Thanksgiving. It was over the Thanksgiving holiday around then, so that all the seniors that had gone off to college would be home. Is what we had it at the Desmond in Great Valley, and Larry Boa came and spoke to the team and spoke to everybody that was there, all the parents and coaches and everybody, and it wasn't something that we were expecting. It was, I think, a nice surprise to have somebody that played in the major leagues and was a manager and was recognizing what we had accomplished. So it was certainly cool to have somebody up there talking directly to just our team.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you guys, the manager, the coaches, the players. That's tremendous.
I think Phoenixville baseball got to share in that understanding, because the Butchie Daniels and the Rich Sims in the Little League, and the Tom Grahams and the John Coles and all those people, and Bobby Listening, Babe Ruth, Dave White, all got to share in this, because it was a Phoenixville thing. It was Phoenixville baseball. And everybody had a part in this. I always told people, I said, I was just the last piece, coaching-wise, of a thing that started down at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old at the Little Leagues, and it was a process that worked.
Told you at the top of the show that Jack and his staff helped develop this ball club from the time they were playing sandlot ball. They volunteered all kinds of hours to develop these players and then follow them right through the program. And everybody in the community kind of feels attached to this ball club, because they sort of watched them grow up into the game of baseball.
All of these guys that have volunteered their time since we were young and watched us all get better and grow as players and stuff, and then to see it pay off at the end. I mean, they put all the work in too for us, like all the volunteer coaches and the guys at Babe Ruth. And so yeah, and you could feel that when you're riding around at midnight on, like, I don't even know what day of the week it was, but everyone was outside, like banging pots and pans and cheering us on and stuff. It was really cool.
I just look at it as it was Phoenixville championship, put Phoenixville on a map. I always remember, I remember meeting the other coach from Plum and their players, because we got there late and there was sort of a argument about whether we would get the batting cages because they had the time. And I heard one of their kids say, it's only Phoenixville, we're gonna roll over them anyway. And I said, we're from Phoenixville. I said, we don't back down from anybody. I still remember talking to a Pittsburgh sports writer that called me up and said, well, how do you think can you even stay on the field with them? They said, listen, we play against teams that have to be just as good as them. We're Phoenixville Baseball. We can stay on the field with anybody.
Hello. Thanks for sticking around till the end. It's been a blast reliving these memories with my teammates, and we're glad that we could share them with you. As promised, we have one last surprise for you. As a special part 3 to Steeltown Sports, we'll be releasing the full championship game for you on VoxyPop next Friday, July 9th. Whether you're getting to enjoy it for the first time or reliving the experience, it's a great game that you'll definitely want to catch. Thanks again for being a part of our story and supporting baseball in Phoenixville.